EGM Network.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Cottage Conversations with Mary Lou Ciambriello. I am Mary Lou Ciambriello, a realtor in Indian River County with John King's RE/MAX Crown. And today we have a really, really special guest. For those of us that live in Florida, a very important guest, actually. He's our property appraiser, and his name is Wesley Davis. But before we have Wesley and John introduce themselves, I'm going to have Jennifer do a recap on Bark in the Park, which was last weekend. So, Jennifer, tell everybody about Bark in the Park and how great it was.
It was a wonderful event. I was manning the booth at RE/MAX Crown Realty and brought my two dogs. I have a Doberman and a Yorkie. I walked around, met some people, handed out some bandanas for the dogs, and we had a great time.
And there are lots of different events that are held. It's free.
Yes.
It's free. And usually it's 2 days. It was only 1 day this year.
And they have lots of activities, water sports for the dogs.
And they blow peanut butter balloon, what was that? Bubbles. They have bubbles with peanut butter taste, and the dogs chase them. But let's get on to our podcast, which is really important. Again, we're at we're in the middle of January, I guess, or almost the end of January. But taxes are due, and we have brought in Wesley Davis because Wesley is the only person I know that can make you excited about paying your taxes, okay? So, Wesley, would you please introduce yourself?
Wesley Davis, the Indian River County property appraiser.
Okay, is there anything special about you? What are you doing this weekend? I understand Monday night you're going to be busy.
Yes, let's see. Monday, I have, I'm doing the kids' tag arts.
Tag art.
Celebrity chef at Fujiyama's.
Yeah,
We'll
Fujiyama's
be doing
one.
that. And then Thursday, I have the Camp Haven charity auction.
That's amazing organization,
and then
too.
that'll round it out for the week.
Okay, and John, you can introduce yourself, too.
I'm John King, the broker-owner, RE/MAX Crown Realty. Been here a few times. And one other
You're
cool
my
thing.
most favorite guest.
One other thing about Wesley is he is a very, very avid lobster catcher. Lobsterman.
Are you? Do you really?
I enjoy it. Yes, of course, social media makes it a whole lot easier than it really is.
I love lobster.
Well, we're going to start. Let's talk about taxes, which is a really unhappy subject for a lot of people. But frankly, we need them because we get a lot of services because of it. So, when are taxes due, and what do people need to do about homesteading? Let's start there.
Well, let's start with what I do. I really
Please.
don't do the taxes side of it. I just put values on properties. Okay. Now they do take that, and the municipalities will put a millage rate with that to come up with a dollar amount that is in fact the taxes. So right now, though, the important thing is starting as of January 1st is what we call exemption season. And what that is that's where we start anybody that has bought a home last year in 2025 and established that as their primary residence. And what does that mean? Establishing a home as a primary residence is not that you are there 6 months in a year or in a day. It's that where do they vote? Where do they have their automobile registration? All that information basically establishes that residence as their primary residence. So that's some of the information we need in order for somebody to qualify and for us to verify that. And the significance of that is this. It's not that you just the $50,000 off the assessed value of a piece of property. The real important part of it is the portability. And what a portability
Which is huge.
It's especially in the market that ran
It's huge.
several as hard as it has in the past 5 years. And that is that the assessed value of a homesteaded piece of property can only go up by 3% or the consumer price index, whichever's less.
Mm-hmm.
And so during the high inflationary times, it was capped at 3%. This year, it's going to be the most it can go up for this year is going to be 2.7% of the. So that's a huge savings on that is afforded to residents of the state of Florida.
Exactly. And so talk to me about when we have to pay, because we're coming up on that deadline. So anybody that bought in 2025 and didn't register, they need to be on the job here.
Yeah. So as far as payment of your tax bill, you can pay in November. That's whenever the tax bills come out. And what you get then is you get a 4% discount on your taxes if you pay at that point. If you pay then December, then it's 3%. And then January is 2%, and then March or February is 1%, and then March they're actually due. Then after that, then in April it goes up by 1%. And
wow.
So eventually they become delinquent at the end of May, and that's whenever the tax certificates will get sold on the piece of property as of June 1st.
And then we have to register by is it by March 1st that everybody
That is the exemption deadline is March 1st. So we have a 60-day period here starting January 1st to basically end of February, March 1st. And so, for example, like the ag classifications, those renewals are going back out. So getting that. Should somebody have a situation that's changed as far as if they were a disabled veteran with a certain percentage, if that percentage has gone up and they got the proof of that on their VA card, then bring it to us. Let us know. If somebody's been widower last year, then and
they get a $500 deduction for that.
Well, now it's $5,000 off the assessed value. They've increased that.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. Oh, wow.
And
That's
so
good.
there's all these exemptions, and there's a bunch of them as far as if you're in the reserves and you get called up to active duty military and you're in certain theaters of conflict around the globe. The legislature every year approves a list from Operation Dubai, Operation Djibouti, there's just a whole bunch of them.
And they should, if they have any questions regarding that, they should really contact you because the list is long.
It is.
The list is long,
Yes.
yeah. And what else? So guys can help me out here because, I pay my taxes quarterly, all right?
So
Because-
what I would like to say is that we sell a lot of houses, through our company. And I always recommend that everybody sets up an appointment to go down to Wesley's office and sit down with one of their fantastic team members, because there are so many exemptions that are there that people don't even understand. I don't even know all of
There's
them.
no line. You walk right in.
And so you go in there, set up a meeting with them, and sit down. We've sent people in there just to fix minor things, and they walk out of there and they call me so excited. They're like, we just saved a ton of money on our taxes that we weren't even in there for, but they are proactive about sitting down and making sure that you get every exemption that you deserve.
I had that happen. I was at a meeting and somebody came up to me, my neighbor came up to me and she said, my girlfriend's paying too much money on her taxes. And I looked at it and I said, and she also overpaid for her home, and that was why her taxes were high. So I sent her down to your office. And they said, yes, your taxes are too high, but we can't do anything until you bring us comps. And I was lucky enough to be able to find an exact comp, and their taxes went down $2,000.
There you go.
And it was done in a matter of days. I mean, they went there, I did the work for them, they went to you, and it was done. It was absolutely done. So that's the other thing. I always say lucky us to live in Indian River County, and I really do mean that. And one of the reasons we're so lucky is we've got people like you that volunteer all the time, and that, you're available all the time. This is your busiest season, and here you are on my little podcast, which is really kind of sweet of you.
Well, it's a perfect time. I mean, like I said, it is exemption season, and I spend a lot of money in outreach and trying to tell everybody, if anything's changed on your deed, pay it. Now is the time. And I can name some very, very prominent citrus families in this community. Two of them this year that forgot to file their homestead. One of them going back to a riverfront property from 2003.
Oh my gosh.
2003. You know what riverfront properties have done since then.
Oh my gosh.
And there's it's just life goes on. It's kind of like they just get busy. They're busy, making money in their business and all that kind of stuff, and it just gets overlooked until one day they say, "Wow, we're paying a lot in taxes," and they look at it, and then they come into the office, and we say, we try to do what we can for them. But my hands are really tied once those trim notices go out and the tax bills are printed. That's the municipalities
I'm happy
and schools.
with my taxes.
Well,
just so you know. I've been a resident since I think 77.
Okay.
So I'm okay with
There
my
you go.
taxes.
Yes.
Yeah. And then the other thing is when talking about, because that's the number one question we get, what are our taxes going to be?
Yeah.
We always refer them to you,
Sure.
right? Is that what you do, Jennifer?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, because that's like the number one question. What are my taxes going to be? I don't know, and I if I knew, I'd tell you, but I really wouldn't because I'm not an expert.
Sure.
So we have them call you. And what is your slogan?
Tell them Wesley sent me.
Yes, and I think that's the name of my
I like
podcast.
that. I like
Okay.
that.
Thank you.
Okay, and then
And on Wesley's website too, there's a tax estimator on there, so you can put in any property address. And when you pull up the property record on his website, and thank you for the website, is awesome.
it is an
fantastic.
awesome website. Yeah.
And so you can go click on the property, and at the very top of that screen, there's a button that says tax estimator. So if you're looking to purchase that property, then you can go on there, click on the tax estimator. It already pulls all of the different tax areas for that specific property. There's a section to put in your portability, which we might want to talk about in a little bit of time here. But you can put in your portability. You can put in some of the major, homestead and widower, that kind of stuff, and it'll give you a pretty good worst case scenario on your tax bill.
What are some common misconceptions about homestead?
Let's see. There's some common misconceptions about you don't have to apply for it. Some people just don't realize. They think that it should be all. If you had a homestead before, bought a new house, it doesn't automatically roll over into a new homestead. You have to apply for it, and we can't grant it if it's not applied for.
Right.
That's probably the biggest one that I face out there. On the portability side of it, as John just mentioned, the way portability works is it's the difference between the assessed value and the market value. And we normally don't get into market values, with the exception if we have to do it for portability. So with that, that difference, because homesteaded properties, the assessed value can only go up by that 3% or the consumer price index, whichever's less. And so you can port up to $500,000, and you have up to 3 years to do that. So let's say you sold it right now. You're in January. You've got 11 months and 2 years. If you sold it December 28th of last year, you just burnt one of your years. So you really have 2 years.
Yeah, I know. That's interesting. I generally tell them 2 years, but
it's up to 3 years. But it depends on the timing of the sale. And then with that up to, let's just say that that difference of your portability was $100,000, the difference between the market value and the assessed value. Then you could take that and you apply that to your new residence. And then, however, the market value of the new residence has to be equal to or greater than the market value of the old residence for you to port 100% of that. If it's, let's say you downsize into a condo, and the market value of the condo is half of what your market value of your residence that you're selling was, then you can only port $50,000 of that, or half of that value.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. It's a lot of math.
And listen,
walk in and say Wesley saying.
That's right.
That's right. That's what I do. That's what I do. That's what I do. I don't even play with that, unless the only time I play with that is if they're 100% disabled, and go, well, you're just paying for the ad valorem. I'm safe with that one. Yeah. But and let's talk about fraud. Title fraud is a big deal, and you've done something on a website, like John said, we've got a great website, but you've done something on the website that everybody that owns a piece of property should be doing.
Let's put that website, go right up there.
Oh, there you go.
Over there on the underneath Contact Us.
Should be on the bottom.
Scroll
right.
down.
Yeah, it should be on the bottom right.
There is. Go to the homepage, and what it is it's below the phone numbers. They were under contact. See the fraud alert right there? Yeah. The second one from the bottom on the right hand side. Mm-hmm. That fraud alert that you're looking at right there. If you click on that, that takes you to a hyperlink to the clerk of the circuit court. And now, again, it's leaving my webpage, but my website, but I wanted to make that as easy as it possibly can. When you click on that, all it does is it asks you to confirm your name and an email address. And once you confirm that, then you type it in and then confirm it. Then what happens is you'll be notified anytime a document gets recorded with your name on it. Right. There's a tab there where you can do it in a business also. So if you have property in a business name. And I had forgotten all about doing this, but I did it, a long time ago. And I took advantage of some of the great interest rates with Marine Bank back whenever they were down in the dumps. We did some refinancing, and I got notified that Marine Bank was recording a note in my name. And that's so important, because we really do have a lot of title fraud going on. It is real. It's a real, and I don't understand why they haven't changed legislation to make it more difficult. What people really need to understand in this is the reason why it's so real is because it can be so easy. All you need is a fraudulent notary. I know. And because keep in mind that the buyer of a piece of property, their signature's not anywhere on those documents, with the exception of a contract, if in fact it goes that. The deed is the one that gets signed by the seller. All it has is the buyer's name, nothing indicative of who they are. Well, that's because whenever those notaries, they verify that in fact with a driver's license, or they personally know them, it carries a lot of clout, if you will, whenever documents get recorded. And once it's recorded, then I've got
I know of several people. I know of several people that have had it happen to. I think I notified you of one. Yes. that when I got it, I thought it was suspicious because they wanted to list right away. Yep. They wanted me to send them a listing agreement. No, it's not how it works. Yeah. We go in and we check. And if y'all call us, if any realtor would call us, we had one
So we do have the signatures if somebody's applied for a homestead. We do have copies of driver's license. We keep that because those are things whenever somebody applies for a homestead, that's the information we have, and we keep that in our system, and it is secure. But we won't tell you, they'll show you that information. But what we will say is we can say that doesn't match the signature that we have on file.
Yeah, it's
And if you're buying property, make sure that you're using a reputable local title company.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, because we, there's we get contacted by a lot of fraudulent sellers, usually about at least one a month.
Yeah.
And we send them all off to all the different title companies. Say, hey, be on the lookout if this property comes back. We also go through the history of it, because a lot of times these properties make it to the listing stage, and then they get withdrawn. And then we pick up the phone and call the previous agent and say, hey, what happened? And they said, yeah, it was determined that they were title fraud.
Yeah.
And it's scary how easy it is, and there is no magic solution to it that's out there. But at least the quicker that you can realize that there was an issue going on with your property, the easier it is to try to unwind that transaction.
Yep.
And the title companies all, with their underwriters, all have, the local ones, a list of fraudulent notaries, because they always say that, okay, well, we're out traveling, and typically they target people that aren't local. Yeah. They target houses that are vacant, but it can really happen to anyone. And we take it a step further at RE/MAX Crown Realty. If we list a property with somebody that we haven't met, we have any kind of inclination that there might be something going on, we tell them that we're sending you a letter to the property address that is on public records on Wesley's website, and we're going to put a code on there, and you're going to have to call us back with that code, because at least that way we know that we sent a letter to the same address that they get their tax bill at.
And the other thing you do is you notify all the agents. You send
100%.
we send out a warning to all of our agents stating that's because that's really important too.
There's several different warning signs that you mentioned of ours. Selling low, in a hurry. The dog and pony show. But another one that should really, if in fact the notary is not from America, that's where a lion's share of them is from their notaries from Netherlands. Just pick your country.
Yeah.
At least that's another one. It's not all 100% of the time, but that's a red flag.
Yeah, no, it was.
They typically say that they went to the embassy to get notarized, and I mean, we went as far as to call the embassy in whatever country they're saying that they're in, and they're like, no, we don't even do that here. And we've never heard of that person. And with AI, some title companies are starting to gravitate towards virtual closings, which is kind of scary, because with AI, it's, all you need is a photograph and one little sound bite of your voice, and it will look just like you. Yes, so a little Zoom meeting isn't going to cut it. No.
And what are some other things that we should be aware of? Like when we do an improvement on our home, what improvements increase our taxes? If I put a pool in, that type of thing. If I remodel a kitchen, is that going to hit my taxes, or is it a pool or a metal roof?
Well, a pool will, and for example, I mean, I hate to say this, but a pool now is $100,000.
I know, 107.
Yeah,
107.
But with that said, at the same time, we know as well as you that it doesn't add $100,000 worth of value. However, two identical homes, one with a pool, one without a pool, the one with a pool will sell for more money.
Oh, for sure.
So there, we factor that in. And then we don't do it on a percentage basis. We don't say $100,000, therefore $50,000 worth of value gets added. But we do factor that in whenever we're doing our mass appraisals. As far as the kitchens, so much of the time you can appreciate this. They think that because they laid their own tile that it's more valuable, kind of thing. It's not the case. Really, whenever we're looking at in the mass appraisal system, the number of bedrooms, some people say, okay, there's an error there. We really go by square footage of the house on that. Now, bathrooms, that's material. So we will factor in if it's got for the number of bathrooms, that has more of an effect than just whether it's a 3-bedroom or 4-bedroom house, because we do it by the square foot whenever we're coming
Wow.
So the takeaway of that is, if you go onto Wesley's website, which everybody should do today, and if you have truly 2 bathrooms in your house and it says 3, call Wesley's office. If you have 3 and in fact you have 4, don't call Wesley.
There you go. Well, and in fact, if you want to pull up a card on a property record card on the website, there is in fact a way where you can report discrepancies.
Yeah, it's right on
and
there.
put it right in there.
If
Yep.
you have I've seen that. I never
I'll be
do that
checking
because
my
I.
property today.
There you go. There
yeah.
you go.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And let's talk about changing the name because I'm listening to all your commercials. You've got a lot of commercials out there. There's no reason for anybody not to be. If they're not hearing your commercials, they're crazy. Okay, I heard 2 on the way here to the studio. What? Tell me about. I've lost my train of thought there. Help me, guys. Help me. I hate talking about taxes. How?
Well, let's talk about trim notices that are being issued.
Trim notices. Okay, go
The
ahead.
trim notices will come out in the middle of August. And the important thing
We
about
don't
that,
pay them.
No, it's not a bit. But it says this is not a bill. Do not pay.
Yeah.
But some people interpret that saying the do not read and throw it away. So, when that trim notice comes out, that's where you need to look on there and make sure that you're getting the exemptions that you believe you're entitled to. If it's homestead, make sure it's on there. If it's any other ones, it's going to be on there. And what happens is, statutorily, you have 25 days from the middle of August till normally after Labor Day weekend, that you have to look at that, and you let us know about any exemptions you might be missing if you think we're wrong, because we make mistakes. It's called fat finger syndrome. Sometimes if you add a pool and we say it's a $30,000 pool is a value, we could add another 0 very quickly by accident, and that's material. And so look at that. And in addition to the values, in addition to the exemptions, it will have on there the date and time for the public hearings where the elected boards are going to be establishing their millage rates, where they're going to marry that with the value that I put on there as in my office. And then that'll have the date, the time, and the location. And statutorily, those meetings, all of them, school board, county commission, city council, they all have to be after 5 o'clock. So they'll be at 5:01. None of them can be at the same date. That you can go.
That's wonderful.
And all that information's on there. And
yeah, I was going to ask about trust. That's what I wanted to ask about.
Yes.
Oh, well, if you transfer into a trust,
Yes.
do you have to re-register?
Yes.
Okay.
And what we're going to need of that is, and if whatever lawyer's putting this together for you, they'll know exactly what we're needing. But we need a copy of the page and the trust agreement that establishes that property as the primary residence for the trust.
And talk about now, how does that homestead affect that? A trust. They still have the same homestead.
Yes, it's same. You cannot homestead LLCs. Corporations can't homestead.
Okay,
But a trust
that's
can.
fair.
Sure,
That's fair.
the trust can, and of course, your name.
Okay. Anybody else got more things to say here? Because I have.
I would just really like to commend Wesley on this, and he doesn't get enough credit for it. But the taxes that he returns back to the county, he does such a great job.
Yeah.
I have never had any complaint about anybody that's ever went to his office, ever called his office at all. None.
Well,
he does it. And he keeps his budget under control, and he's part of the solution, not part of the problem with taxes.
The budget under control.
Thank you,
Talk
Wesley.
about that. Yeah, but he gave
How much
back
did you refund?
Unbelievable, $600,000.
And that's not a symptom of bad budgeting. It was I've got some vacant positions right now, and we've got 39 full-time positions that's funded. But they're trying to find a cadastral mapper right now is almost impossible. What's a cadastral mapper? Well, they do maps for tax purposes. So it's as the property appraiser for the county, I am the official mapper, and the reason for that is if I got to have a name, an address, and a location in order for me to be able to put a value on a piece of property. If I don't have those, then we're flailing in the wind.
Wow.
But some of these are very, very specific with the CAMA, which is a computer-assisted mass appraisal system that we have. That talent it's hard to find, and I need to be able to strike if it comes available. And so that's
and we're coming up on to the end here, so I want to make sure that you are able to tell us what are the 3 most important things that you think people should take away, even if we didn't cover it. What are the things that they need to understand? I know they can call you. That's a big factor.
No, I would start definitely with exemption season right now. If you know of anybody, please that bought a house last year. 2 is clear the trim note season. And then number 3, what would it be?
Pay your taxes.
Well, yeah, but that's really those 2 main ones are really what my office does. Is seeing to it that you're whenever the trim notices come out that you're being treated fair, And then, of course, outreach with the exemptions that are available to you. Those are really.
And you really work hard to give people their exemptions, which is really admirable. And I think giving back, being under budget, $600,000, come to my house, please.
And if anybody thinks that their assessed value is too high and they need comps, they can reach out to any RE/MAX Crown Realty office. Any agent will be happy to help them, pull custom comps for their home if they want to go.
And if you need somebody to help you sign up for the fraud, just come to the office. Any of us will be glad to put in your family email. If you don't have an email, if somebody in your family is email and whatever. But that's it. I guess we're done for that. Are we done, Jesse? Okay. I can't thank you enough. Everybody, ciao for now. Have the best day ever. And, call Wesley.
Tell them.
Yeah.
Wesley sent me.
Yeah. Mary Lou Ciambriello, and I'm a realtor in Indian River County, Florida. I'm currently working with a client who's looking to purchase large parcels of land from 15 to 250 acres. So if you're a landowner and you live anywhere in the state of Florida, this applies to anywhere in the state of Florida, please give me a call, 561-305-7139. Again, 561-305-7139. I hope to hear from you. Have the best day ever, and